Worked on a historic movie, iconic, one of the most popular movies ever produced that talked about this LA shit. It might not be the best movie, but it was definitely the first and
eye opener
and one of the most discussed movie. And we're talking about Colors.
Yep.
Man, talk about your connection to that movie Colors and how did that come about?
So it come about, for our neighborhood, we had the sheriffs, Firestone, the most fucked up police in the state of California. I mean, for us in the state of California, I didn't know none worse than them. It was me, J-Bone, Lil CJ, X-Ray, and Lex. We in my El Camino, and we are driving through the hood. We coming up 89th from Zamora, headed to the park. And Nunez and Bradley and this guy named Rick Morton. And at first, I thought he was the guy that wrote the movie, but Rick Schaefer wrote the movie. But he's there, and they pull us over, and they got us on the hood of my car, and so we all around the car like this, and I'm over here, me and J-Bone right here, and then there's Lex, a little CJ, X-Ray, and so Nunez started telling them who we are. He was like, he's an East Coast Crip, East Coast Crip, East Coast Crip. When you get to J-Bone, it was like he's a hardcore Crip. Then when they get to me, they say that's the shooter. And so I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about, yada yada yada. So they cuffed me and J-Bone. They let little CJ take my El Camino, and they take me and Bone to Firestone. And when they take us to Firestone, which is on Nadu and Compton Avenue, we get in there. Now we thinking we getting arrested, and we get in there, and there's other people there too. And so we in there, and they are talking to us, and then they start telling us about this movie. And when they telling us about this movie, they asking us, do we want to be in it? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. And then so Bone like, hell yeah. So they was like, can you get other people in it? And we're like, yeah, man, we can get many people to get in this bitch. And so they were like, all right. So they let us go. Me and Bone clowning, because the sheriff station is not that far. It's Nadu is what they would call 79th. So we walk from Nadu to back into the hood across Firestone. And so me and him clowning, talking, so we get to the hood and we hollering. We start hollering at homies like, man, they want us in this movie, yada, 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 yada. Now, the funny is we turned out to be the most authentic bangers in that movie, besides T. Rogers. And then that one scene when you see they get the bounty hunters right there on Central and Imperial, that scene where they arresting everybody after Craig get killed. And they got them hemmed up on Imperial, and they take them to jail. And then they take us to jail, and then the camera rolls by us, and that's all of us on the window. All them are real Crips. And so we do that scene. But prior to that, man, they had us from to be looking like, and this is no disrespect to homosexuality or none of that, they had us finna look like that. When back in them days, 86, Venice Beach, they used to have the hats on, the little hats with the big bill. But they knew the gang members walked around with their hats flipped up. Them was regular golf hats. It wasn't even the baseball hats, it was golf hats. So they was flipped up, and we'd have the hood written on the front of that. And so when I seen that shit, and I was like, man, we don't wear that shit.
Yeah.
And Bone was like, yeah, man, we don't dress like that. So I had a hand in working with the wardrobe dude, and we went down, we took him to Huntington Park, because back then, at that time in the 80s, we either went to Huntington Park or Hells and Bells on Vermont and King. And so we took them to all these stores. We bought all the shit. We even tricked them into buying us extra shit so that we rode around in the hood. We had jackets that said ENC, 89 Crip. And they did all that. They paid for all of that, but they didn't know we had that shit. And so we started doing the scenes for the movies and shit. That shit was comedy, man. I got much respect for Dennis Hopper. Most everybody else was scared of us. So when we doing the jailhouse scene and the Bloods is on the other side, all them Bloods was actors, and we dressed them. We put the rags on them. I bought the clothes. I showed them the clothes to buy for them, the whole nine. And matter of fact, there's a scene in Colors I'm not in. and that's when they are in the back drinking a beer. And prior to that, they got the homies on the ground. My brother and all them. I got 3 brothers that was in there. They got everybody on the ground, and they're in that alley. And I can't think of the black dude name that's a big actor now.
Don Cheadle?
No, not John Cheadle, the other one, the one that was the blood.
Glen Plummer.
Glen Plummer.
That played High Top.
Yeah, High Top. He's there. And so while they're doing that, we in Huntington Park buying clothes. So when we come back, we in the Lebanese Broadway hood off of Main and 112th. Dogman is my homeboy J-Bone. So he the one say, "Oh, Hodges, you back?" And he walking across the street, authentic Crip. And we moving on that. We doing that scene. And so when I get back, they finishing the scene. And then we did another scene down in Watts off 110th and Lou Dillon. And when we doing that scene, there was some, they 10-line grapes, I guess. That's what they was. Excuse me. And when we doing that scene, they had a girl, the dude told the girl, ask them 2 right there, is they real gang members? And we walking by. And the girl like, y'all real gang members? I said, yeah. She said, well, where y'all from? I said, East Coast Crip. The dude, he tell her to diss us, say cheese toast. You know what I'm saying? And to see if we were going to respond. I'll slap the fuck out of her. When I slap her, Nunez grabbed me, and they pushing us back, and I'm like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? This bitch just dissed us, and you seen it. And you stood there, and you know what I'm saying? He's like, man, come on. And they pushed us back. He didn't threaten to arrest me, but he made me kick back. And so after that happened, I'm talking shit to the dude. And my boy Lil John from Wad's Video Great, he pull up on a yellow moped. He like, Bear, what's up, man? Whoa, man, this nigga right here dissing the hood, telling this girl to diss the hood, yada, 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 yada. He's like, man, whoa. So the Grapes met us in that field where you see them drive the car through.
Yeah.
Crazy. They meet us in that field. We was in our trailer.
Is that the field where you can see the watch towers in the background
Before
still?
that.
Okay.
Before that. It's the field where she in there, the girl is driving, and she driving crazy, and it's just in between houses. She's rolling through that. So we met in there, and I just wanted to get down with him. So there was G dudes from Grape there, and they was like, man, Bo Peep was there because Lil John had reached out to other homies, and like some of them came that knew us. So they came, and I'm like, man, just let me and him get down. My brother and him like, no, you kick back. Look, my nigga, this dude did this, and this, and this. They was like, we'll deal with it, my nigga. We're going to leave this alone. So we ended up leaving it alone. We go back to the camper, and then we do the scene. In that scene, that same girl is sitting right between my legs. If you look, when the Mexican's supposed to come up to the house and Rocket passed me the gun, she's sitting right in front of me. And I grabbed a gun, and he passed the Uzi over, and then I grabbed the shotgun from behind us because they came to the door. And that's the girl.
So you did a scene with Don Cheadle. He's Rocket.
No, yeah, with Rocket.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a couple of scenes with him.
Yeah.
So, but J-Bone was the one that was in the car with him, and he hit the Sherm or the weed. I don't know exactly which one they were saying it was, but I believe it was Sherm. He hit the Sherm. He said, I'm fucked up. Shooter was his boy, the light-skinned dude. That name was Shooter, and that was his boy. And then Don Cheadle turned around, man, like, shut the fuck up, man, yada, yada, yada. So when we was doing these scenes, we was getting up. Now, me and Bone, and I mean, you can look at the critics. Me and Bone did the gang writing for the blacks and stuff. So when the church gets shot up, that was supposed to be a blood area. So me and Bone was writing. We would write the blood shit, but we would cross it out because we was real bangers. We would cross it out, and the dude was looking. He said, "Man, why y'all always keep crossing all the shit out?" I said, "This is what we do."
Yeah.
Bone like, "No, man, this is how we do." He said, "But y'all not crossing this out." We would never cross out the East Coast shit. We never would. We just crossed everything else out. They was like, "Man, come on, man. Y'all gonna have to do a little more." So we didn't cross out the hood. We wrote East Side and with a C and crossed it out and did that. We wouldn't cross out the hood or none of that shit. We just was like, fuck it. They was like, all right.